Okay, so this is the start of our new series on the John Deere LT170. Again, a little bit of history on this. This mower was our neighbours. It's developed an engine fault, and they've decided rather than have it repaired, they want to, and they have actually replaced it with a new Cub Cadet, actually, which was certainly a very smart-looking machine. So yeah, we've acquired this one from them, and we're going to have a go at sorting out the engine problem. So very specifically, the engine developed a dramatic oil leak right down here, essentially where the main engine block and the crankcase cover, or the sump as you may call it, join. That gasket there, you can see a little bit of the gasket sticking out there. That shouldn't be there. That should be inside that joint. And a huge amount of oil came spouting out, to the point that when you check oil on this now, it's very low. I would call it almost critically low. So we're going to strip the engine, and we're going to have a look and see what we can find. We're going to start, and this video is just about performing a compression test. What am I looking for? Main thing I'm looking for is that the two cylinders are at a similar compression. I don't know what the correct compression is for this engine. Obviously I will research that, and then I'll be able to tell whether we need to go further than just replacing that gasket. So yeah, follow along. This won't be a very long video. I'm literally just going to do the compression test, give you the results, and then I'll obviously do the research to determine whether the cylinders and rings are in good shape or not. One other thing I'll very quickly just show you. Let me just come around. I have actually had I showed you in the previous video the state of the fuel filter. You can see there, that's been on there for a very long time, as you can tell. And I suspected it would be a similar story with the air filter. So let me quickly just pop this cover off and show you the state of the air filter. So you can see that's in what I would describe as a poor state. There's no way that this engine was getting sufficient air through this fine filter. You can see the dirt just coming off there. Literally months and months, if not years and years of dirt. So we're going to get, obviously that'll get replaced anyway, naturally. Anytime you work on an engine, you want to change the air filter, change the fuel filter, change the oil filter. We'll do all of that, obviously. But main thing for today is to get this compression test done. The sequence, obviously we take both spark plug leads off. So there's one there, and the other one is around this side, there, on the other side of the tappet cover. We're going to take both of those off because we obviously don't want the engine to start. And then what we do, we take one spark plug out. I've got a compression tester, which I'll show you. We put an insert in there, run the engine on the key, just briefly, to get a reading. We run them dry to start with, so we do a dry compression test. Then we do a wet compression test. So we squirt one squirt of oil into each cylinder. We'll squirt it up in an upward direction, so that it hopefully lands at the top of the piston and runs all the way around, so that it then helps the rings to seal. And in theory, we should get a higher compression test result with a wet test, essentially. And of course, if we don't, then we know that the rings and the cylinder is completely gone. If we do, then that's expected. But also the differential between the dry test and the wet test can also tell you, give you an indication of the state of the engine. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you on the tripod, run through the sequence, and you can see what we do. Okay, so we're going to start on this side. As you can see, I've removed the spark plug wire. Not quite sure. It's difficult to see in there which size this is, but it's a smaller one. Okay, so we're going to pop that plug off. Okay. Now we can see that engine. Look, it's not too bad. It looked like it might be burning a little bit of oil, but the actual electrode is that sort of nice straw color that you're looking for. We do have a little bit black on the bottom here. I would have liked to have seen more straw color, if you see what I mean. So that suggests that we may have some ring wear, but anyway, let's carry on. Now I've gone and bought this Sealy compression testing kit. So it looks like a pretty cool set. It comes obviously with a gauge. You've got two adapters for just kind of push on. I don't like to use those. And then you've got four adapters for the different size plugs. I believe ours is going to be this one. That sort of screw thread. And then what you do is you join this pipe to it. So it's difficult to do one-handed, especially when you drop everything. So that goes on there. That clips into the gauge, and off you go. So I'll get set up and we'll do that. Okay, so got the adapter on. We'll just get that into the. Actually, we're going to have to tighten that. So let's just take this off to start with. And no doubt that's going to be, yeah, that's the other one, which is fine. So we'll get that. Get that started.
Feels like it's starting to happen.
Now it's got a rubber O-ring on there, so it will seal. You don't have to go mental with it. Just basically just above hand tight is enough. This one just screws in. You've only got a thumb thread on there to tighten it, so again that tells you that you don't need to go too crazy with it. Those O-rings will seal well enough, and then we just pop the gauge on like so. Now I'm hoping you're going to be able to see the gauge. I'm going to have to do a bit of contortionist work here to try and turn the key and hold the gauge, but yeah, let me see what I can do. Okay, I think I've got the camera on the gauge there. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to sit in the seat. Okay, so there you go. You can see we're at 90 psi. That's the dry test. So now we'll quickly take this off. Hopefully you can see. I hope you can see that in the video, but just for clarity, there you go, 90 psi. Okay, so we'll quickly take this out and we'll pop some oil into that cylinder as best we can. Just one spray, and we'll pop this back in. Okay, let's try that again. Right, so again, hopefully you can see the gauge there. So we can see it's slightly higher. Looking at that, we've got, it's difficult to tell what these graduations mean, but I think that's about 95, just in terms of proportion of distance between the 90 and the 120. So I'm going to put that down as 95 wet. So 90 dry, 95 wet. I'll move to the other side and we'll do that test then as well. Right, we've got it set up on the other side now. This is the dry test. I'm going to go again because it still is rising. Interesting, that seemed to rise the longer we turned it. But we're up to just over 100 on that one. That's significantly different to the other side. The other one rose to 90 and stayed there. I'm afraid. Looks like the gauge glared out. Hang on. Let me disconnect it. There we go. So you can see that's risen, gone, and I would call that about 105, perhaps, maybe 110 on that gauge. It's almost good. Right, let's try the wet test and see if we get anything different. Okay, I've got you set up hopefully a little bit better than now you'll be able to see it this time. So, this is the wet test. Where are we? I can't see the gauge. Okay, so again, slightly better, only about, I'd say 5 psi difference. We're just off 120 there. Now, you'll see how much longer I had to run this one for it to climb. I'm actually going to test the other side again. I'm wondering whether I didn't run it long enough. So I'll quickly do that and see if I get any different results. Okay, so I redid the test on the other side, ran the engine for a while, and you can see I got the same result. That's the wet test result, 90, let's call it 95. So we've got quite a significant imbalance between these two cylinders. That's not good. And so what I'm going to assume that I will need to do is probably replace at least the rings on this engine. So look forward to that. We'll be doing essentially let's call it a partial rebuild. Obviously once we get into the actual engine we may find that more is required, but for now, at the very least, we'll be replacing that crankcase gasket and we'll be replacing the rings at least on this engine. Obviously, as I say, once we get in there, we'll see what the full picture is. So look, that's it for this video. That's as far as I'm going to go today. Next video, we'll be stripping the engine, getting it out of the mower, hopefully getting it up onto a workbench and opening it up to see what's inside. Look forward to that. That'll be probably next weekend. So in just over a week's time, we should be able to publish that. I hope that you'll join us for that. And of course, don't forget to follow us, subscribe, all of those good things. Especially if you're interested in this particular project. Of course, our other project is the restoration of the Ferguson TED 20 Grey Fergie, which I'm sure most of you are following already anyway. Alright then, so we'll speak to you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers for now.